Donald Trump just fully threw his running mate, J.D. Vance, under the bus, just completely stabbed him in the back. And it's such a funny development because the Republican Party is just fractured right now. They are divided. They're attacking each other. They're losing support rapidly. And that anger has made its way all the way up to the top of the Republican Party, top of the ticket, with Donald Trump now throwing J.D. Vance under the bus. I mean, insanity. So we've all seen Kamala Harris and Tim Walz labeled Trump and J.D. Vance as weird, right? Because it's an accurate description. Both Trump and J.D. Vance's policies are weird. The things they say are very strange. And this has very much angered Donald Trump and J.D. Vance. They're kind of freaking out about it. But Donald Trump was asked about this label that has been given to both him and J.D. Vance at a fundraiser. And man, he just put it all on J.D. Vance. I mean, it's so funny. So we have some reporting from the New York Times on this. You can see it on your screen. Mr. Trump dismissed out-of-hand donors' suggestions that he replace Mr. Vance on the ticket, but Mr. Trump privately asked his advisors whether they had known about Mr. Vance's comments about childless women before Mr. Trump chose him, something that, maybe they should have taken into account before throwing him on the ticket. I digress. And at an August 2nd fundraiser, according to two people with knowledge of what took place, when a donor at the roundtable discussion asked about Democrats trying to paint the Republican ticket as, quote, weird, Donald Trump replied, not about me. They're saying that about J.D. Vance. Just taking him, saying, nope, throw him under the bus. They're not saying it about me. They're saying it about that guy over there. Don't put it on me. Don't put it on me. Just fully pushing him in front of the bus. I mean, it's remarkable. Look, Trump is obviously incredibly insecure to the point where, he's being labeled as weird and things like that, and he just can't take that criticism, so he has to put it on somebody else. But the Democrats are absolutely including Donald Trump in that description. I mean, he is the head of the Republican Party, right? He's their nominee for president. The Republican Party is loyal to him. They are a cult, at least the majority of them, for him, buying into whatever he says. So he is very much part of that weird description. They're not just saying it about J.D. Vance, but also, of course, J.D. Vance is included in that. But I hope that this teaches J.D. Vance a lesson about Donald Trump that he should have known before getting involved, but certainly something we've known. And that's Donald Trump is loyal to nobody. He's loyal to nobody. You can do everything for Donald Trump. You can dedicate your entire political career to uplifting him and praising him on like Sunday shows and on Fox News and things like that. You could vote for all the policy he puts forward. You can spread all the conspiracies that he puts out there, and he will still stab you in the back. No matter how much you do for Donald Trump, he will always protect himself first, and he's never, ever interested in helping anybody else. I mean, it's the key of being a narcissist, right? And that is a accurate description of Donald Trump. And now just J.D. Vance is the scapegoat, saying, hey, don't put it on me, put it on J.D. He's the weird guy, when Donald Trump is putting forward all this insane, ridiculous policy. But is that not just a perfect representation of the Republican Party? Just perfect. It just shows the narcissism, how much of a sociopath Donald Trump is. It really does. And the funny thing about this reporting and this story is that J.D. Vance was asked about this report, Donald Trump saying, oh, it's just J.D., during a CNN interview he did today, and man, was his response just a complete disaster. He doesn't know what to say. Take a look.
I want to move on to something that Governor Walz has called you and Donald Trump, and that is weird.
Sure.
And it is taken off. The New York Times reports that when Donald Trump was asked about it, he said, not me, they're talking about J.D.
Well, certainly they've levied that charge against me more than anybody else, but I think that it drives home how they're trying to distract from their own policy failures. I mean, look, this is fundamentally schoolyard bully stuff. They can accuse me of whatever they want to accuse me of. As Harry S. Truman once said, if you can't take the heat, stay out of the kitchen. And I'm doing this because I think that me being vice president will help improve people's lives. So I accept their attacks, but I think that it is a little bit of projection, Dana. If you think about just take a couple of days ago. Tim Walz gives this big speech. He's been announced as the VP nominee. And I remember when I had just been announced as the VP nominee, I gave my big speech and I saw my wife and I gave her a big hug and a kiss because I love my wife and I think that's what a normal person does. Tim Walz gave his wife a nice, firm Midwestern handshake and then tried to sort of awkwardly correct for it. So I think that what it is two people, Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, who aren't comfortable in their own skin because they aren't comfortable with their policy positions for the American people. And so they're name calling instead of actually telling the American people how they're going to make their lives better. I think that's weird, Dana, but look, they can call me whatever they want to.
You're saying Tim Walz doesn't have affection for his wife? I don't even understand that.
I said that he acted weird, which he did, on a national stage in front of his wife and in front of millions of Americans who presumably were watching at home. And I think that it's projection, Dana. Look, I think
Man, that's just not a happy guy, is it? I mean, this guy's just not happy. He's not happy to be here. He's not happy with the way that things are going. You can see it on his face, regardless of what he says. And look, I wrote some things down that he said in that answer that I just thought were absurd. Number one, he described them being labeled as weird as schoolyard bully stuff. Please spare me. Spare me the outrage. Spare me the high horse of morality here. Just, take a trip down memory lane with me. Crooked Hillary, crooked Joe Biden, crooked Obama, crooked Nancy Pelosi, crazy Nancy Pelosi. I mean, are we being serious right now? Is that an actual comment that just came out of JD Vance's mouth? Donald Trump is the king of childish insults, giving people these names that you might have heard on the playground or things that a child could have come up with. I mean, are you kidding me? Really? Like, Trump does this all the time, and this is the guy that he praises and says is the best thing ever and the greatest president to walk the earth. I mean, spare me, JD. Spare me now the moral high ground of saying, let's be adults, when your guy is a child stuck in a man's body. I mean, be real for a second. And to attack Governor Tim Walz and his wife, it's so baffling to me that JD Vance has made it a strategy to attack other people's families. He talks about childless cat ladies. He says that people without children should be taxed more. And now he's on national television saying, well, you know what? I thought, Tim Walz shaking his wife's hand was rather awkward. I thought that the hug they had was awkward. Are you kidding me? JD, please. I mean, it's almost like he's trying to sabotage his own campaign. He wants to make fun of other people's families, and that's never a great strategy. Never a great strategy. He's made that like the main point of his campaign. Maybe he should think about, Donald Trump, the guy that is at the top of the ticket, the man who's cheated on every single one of his wives and had 3 wives and things of that nature. Maybe don't talk about Tim Walz and his wife and his family, and maybe don't talk about Kamala Harris and her family. Maybe JD should adopt that strategy. I don't know. And another thing he said, I mean, the list just goes on with this guy. He's so weird. It really is such a good word. Anyway, he says that Kamala Harris and Tim Walz are not comfortable in their own skin. It's so ironic, isn't it? Like right over his head. He just doesn't even see it. JD Vance is the definition of a politician who's not comfortable in his own skin. The awkward laughs, the weird answers, all this stuff. JD Vance is so uncomfortable answering questions that are difficult and just talking about average everyday policy. He can't do it. I mean, that throughout that entire clip we just watched, I felt awkward watching him. I was like, oh, can this guy get off my screen? Can I stop watching this guy? He's so bad at this. And yet he keeps going out there and keeps talking about the nonsense. Talking about the nonsense. I mean, geez Louise. Please stop, JD. You're making it worse for yourself. He doesn't see that though, because he's part of the Trump cult. But I digress. I just think it's incredibly funny how, JD Vance and other MAGA Republicans have dedicated their lives to supporting Donald Trump. Their entire political career is MAGA, 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 just for Donald Trump to say, well, they're not calling me weird. They're only calling JD Vance weird. Man, it must suck to be MAGA, huh? Man, I'm happy to be part of the Democratic Party. The party that's not a cult. We just care about good policy. We just want to make the world better. I'm so glad that you and me and the many others out there are not part of this mess where you dedicate your life to somebody just for them to say, well, it's not me they're talking about, just for the record. Jeez. Anyway, really funny. Just thought I should bring it to your attention. I'll leave the video there. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you being here always. It means the world to me. Make sure to subscribe down below as well. It should be on your screen somewhere as well. It goes an incredibly long way. It helps a lot. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to do that. Of course, drop a like on the video and comment. Let me know what you think about all of this. And as I always say, I greatly appreciate you, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day.